What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com. Here are my DFS picks for NBA Tuesday, December 22nd. These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our new videos. In this video, I'm going to go over my top picks for today's NBA slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Okay guys, let's take a look at the point guard position. I like Lou Williams from the LA Clippers playing the Los Angeles Lakers, who have a good defense overall, but they give up the 11th most fantasy points to opposing point guards. Lou Williams has averaged 31.7 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 29 minutes per game with a 29% usage rate. He's projected at 28 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.2 times value. He's 5,400 DraftKings salary and 100 less on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 220.5 points scored in this game, so I like Lou Williams here versus the LA Lakers. Another point guard that I like is Spencer Dinwiddie from the Brooklyn Nets playing the Golden State Warriors, who have the 4th worst defense overall, and they give up the 2nd most fantasy points to opposing point guards. Spencer Dinwiddie has averaged 36.8 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 31 minutes per game with a 29% usage rate. Oh, he's going to be about 15% owned. Projected at 26.4 fantasy points here tonight. That's 4.4 times value. He's 6,000 DraftKings salary and 800 less on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 229.5 points scored in this game, so we got a high-scoring game and a great matchup. So I like Spencer Dinwiddie here versus the Golden State Warriors. Oh, and the ownership on Lou Williams, he's going to be about 27% owned. Okay, let's take a look at the shooting guard position. Okay, so I just switched over to FanDuel because DraftKings has multiple positions for different players. So I'm going to go over these picks on FanDuel just to make it a little bit easier when it comes to the positions. So at the shooting guard position, I like Andrew Wiggins from the Golden State Warriors playing the Brooklyn Nets, who have the 11th worst defense overall, and they give up the 13th most fantasy points to opposing shooting guards. Andrew Wiggins has averaged 36.4 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 34 minutes per game with a 28% usage rate. And he's going to be about 37% owned. Projected at 34.6 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.2 times value. He's 6,600 FanDuel salary and 400 more on DraftKings. So we know Vegas thinks there's going to be 229.5 points scored in this game. So I like Andrew Wiggins here versus the Brooklyn Nets. Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all of our DFS tools for all sports. You can try the Position Optimizer, where you can see the top players ranked for each position. And we added a new Player Trends tool, where you can see the top salary differences between FanDuel and DraftKings. It's a really good tool to help you pick out value for the site that you're playing on. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups. Okay, now if you're looking for a value play at the shooting guard position, take a look at Kentavious Caldwell-Pope from the LA Lakers playing the LA Clippers, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall, and they're middle-of-the-pack defending opposing shooting guards. Caldwell-Pope has averaged 16.4 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 26 minutes per game with a 15% usage rate. He's going to be about 10% owned, projected at 14.8 fantasy points here tonight. That's 4 times value. He's only $3,700 FanDuel salary and $500 more on DraftKings. So I like Contavious Caldwell-Pope here versus the LA Clippers. Okay, let's take a look at the small forward position. So, of course, I like LeBron James, I like Kawhi Leonard, but I also like Kelly Oubre Jr. from the Golden State Warriors playing the Brooklyn Nets, who have the 11th worst defense overall, and they give up the 13th most fantasy points to opposing small forwards. Kelly Oubre Jr. has averaged 33.2 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 35 minutes per game with a 23% usage rate. He's going to be about 21% owned, projected at 28.2 fantasy points here tonight. That's 4.4 times value. He's $6,400 DraftKings salary and $300 more on FanDuel. So I like targeting this game because Vegas thinks it's going to be a high-scoring game. 229.5 points scored in this game, so plenty of fantasy points to go around. So I like Kelly Oubre Jr. here versus the Brooklyn Nets. Okay, let's take a look at the power forward position. Although he doesn't have a great matchup here, I like Serge Ibaka from the LA Clippers playing the LA Lakers, who have a good defense overall, and they've been good versus opposing power forwards. But Serge Ibaka, he's averaging 29.4 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 27 minutes per game with a 24% usage rate. He's going to be about 31% owned, projected at 26.3 fantasy points here tonight. That's 4.8 times value. He's $5,500 FanDuel salary and $300 less on DraftKings. So I like Serge Ibaka here versus the LA Lakers. Okay, moving on to the center position. I like Montrezl Harrell from the LA Lakers playing the LA Clippers, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall, and they give up the 8th most fantasy points to opposing centers. Montrezl Harrell has averaged 33.2 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 28 minutes per game with a 26% usage rate. He's going to be about 18% owned, projected at 24.4 fantasy points here tonight. That's 4.8 times value. He's $5,100 FanDuel salary and $200 more on DraftKings. So great matchup. He's got a huge ceiling if he gets rolling. His price is pretty low. Ownership is relatively low on a 2-game slate. So I like Montrezl Harrell here versus the LA Clippers.
If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smiggity smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NBA slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again and good luck.